Hi everyone, it's Tanya Kraus here, and you are joining me for an episode of Let's Talk Horses. And this episode, we're not talking horses specifically, but we're talking about something major that I see more often than I'd like to at my clinics, and something that can have a huge impact on your relationship or your bond with your horse. So obviously, as a horsemanship coach and a coach that is focused on relationship and partnership, and us using kind and beautiful ways to connect with our horses and train our horses and still achieve all those goals that we're wanting to achieve, but from a really positive perspective. What I see a lot of is particularly women with low self-esteem, low confidence, and low self-love. So I want to speak to this because it has such a huge impact on the way that we interact with our horses and the way that we, the way that we show up for our horses, for our families, for everybody around us. And it all starts with the way that we show up for ourselves. I'm not an expert on this subject by any stretch of the imagination. I am someone who has suffered from low self-esteem, lack of confidence, all of those sorts of things over the years, and it's certainly something that I'm not immune to now, as most women are conditioned to do. I'm not above looking in the mirror and picking out things that I don't like and that I want to change about myself. But sometimes we can get to a point where it is significantly impacting us. And as I said, the way that we interact with our horses, even from I'm trying to really choose my words carefully here, because it's such an important topic. When we have low self-esteem, and even if we think that on the surface we don't, if deep down inside we don't believe that we are worthy, or that we deserve things, or that we alternatively deserve to be treated poorly, or that things happen to us because we're stupid or whatever, what happens is that we can't show up for our horses in a way that allows them to respect us. So I know that that's a hot topic word, and I know that so many of you watching have probably been taught to go sort of at your horse a little bit. And certainly I've met horses that need, they've gotten to the point where they are dangerous and aggressive and pushy and those sorts of things. And so, obviously there are techniques, there are physical techniques that we can do in order to shut down or control that behavior. But if deep down inside we are still showing up for that horse in a way that says, I'm not deserving of your respect, I'm not worthy of having a nice experience, or having fun, or any of those things. Like, it's so complicated. And again, I have to say, I'm not an expert, and I know that there's some things here that I'm probably going to say that might feel intense for people, but yes, techniques will get you so far, but only once I started showing up for myself was when I could hold my space and show up for horses, and not just my horses, but everybody's horses, when I started training. Certainly earlier on in my career, when I still did lack confidence and self-esteem, and I had a pretty negative view about myself, I had the skill to say, get off me and don't push on me and things like that, but it just kept happening because those horses feel that about us. And so, we're always told as well that horses mirror us. So if we treat ourselves poorly and we speak to ourselves poorly and we feel about ourselves poorly, that is going to be represented in the horse, not necessarily from a mean perspective. Horses don't want to be mean, but they live in nature. They live in that, dog eat dog world, so to speak. So they're going to relate to us the way that we relate to us. So when I started to develop better self-confidence and a higher level of self-esteem, I noticed that, of course, I still needed the skills. It's not about not needing the skills, but I found that the skills were needed less, and I found that the interactions were more permanent, and I found that the horses related to me in a different way, because when I walked into a round pen or an arena or wherever, I was holding myself in a high regard, and so the horse mimicked that behavior. So again, I know that this is a pretty complicated topic for a lot of people, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and something that I wanted to come on and share with you, because I know that 99.9% of women at some point in their life suffer from low self-esteem, low self-confidence for a lot of ways. A lot of us were, not only are we conditioned just from beauty magazines and stuff like that to think that beauty is a ridiculously unobtainable standard because of Photoshop and all of that sort of stuff. And we're seeing some really positive advances in those areas where magazines have to admit that they're using Photoshop and things like that. That's my understanding of it. But I'm 45 years old. And that conditioning starts when you're young, like 10 or 8 or whatever, and even younger now for these kids that have got access to Instagram and crap like that. That's 40 years of conditioning. That's 37 years of conditioning. So it's not just going to go away when I go, oh yeah, that's photoshopped. It doesn't matter. It's in front of you all the time. And coupled with then what we actually experience in our lives at school, the kids who were, I didn't wear glasses at school, but when you wore glasses at school and you were a 4 eyes, or I had acne at school, so you were a pizza face, and this and that, and like every single person I know has been picked on for their appearance in some way. Like even the skinny kids were picked on because they were skinny. The fat kids were picked on because they were fat. The girls with no boobs were picked on because they had no boobs. The girls with boobs were picked on because they had boobs. The blondes were picked on because they were blonde and dumb, and the brunettes were picked on because they weren't blonde. We can't win, and we just lived in this vicious cycle of craziness that now has a major impact on everything that we do. The way that we allow people to talk to us is a result of how we deeply feel inside here, of whether we are deserving of that or not. When I met my partner now, Phil, I was in my mid-20s or late 20s, 27 or something like that, he would say to me, oh, you're beautiful. And I'd go, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And he was instrumental in saying to me, don't say that. One, he didn't like it because he would say, what, do you think I'm an idiot? Like, what, I'm saying that, so don't take that away from him as a person. But also he would get frustrated because I disregarded what he was saying. I didn't believe it. And so it's been a very long time since I've been able to, and it takes work. And I think that's what I'm here to share with you, that, one, we're not alone. All women feel like that in some capacity. Like I've just got some amazingly, and I'm not even talking about internal, like everyone that's in my circle around are amazing, empathetic, beautiful souls of people, because I don't have people around me that aren't amazingly gorgeous souls of human beings. But I also have some literally gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous friends who are still insecure. Every woman on the planet, no matter how bloody stunning she is insecure in some way. And so it takes work self-acceptance and self-esteem takes work, and it takes that self-belief. It's even reflected in the way that you ride. You know, I've got clients that I say, stop apologizing for your existence in this world. You know, I have clients that ride, and I'll turn, you know, they're riding in the saddle and they're always like this. You know, their posture is like, I'm sorry for being here, I'm sorry for taking up space. No, you have to recognize that, and trust me, I know that again, it's our conditioning that causes that. I'm not saying that you want to be like that or you want to embrace it, but you've got to say, I deserve to be in the world. I'm a good human being. I have amazing things about me. I'm a wonderful friend, mother, partner, whatever. And it's got to be about who we are as people and our external appearance. And it's about being able to embrace and take charge of who we are, what we look like, and also our ability to change it if we want to change it. You know, if you look in the mirror and you go, oh man, I'm overweight, then change it. You know, eat healthier, exercise, do whatever you have to do that. Or look in the mirror and say, I love the way I look. I don't need to change anything. So I'm not saying you have to accept what you look like, although I am saying that you should love what you look like right now, because our bodies are amazing things, and those of you that are mothers have created life, for fuck's sake. It's like literally the most important thing on the planet that anyone could do anywhere, anytime, is grow a human being. Otherwise our very existence depends on that, and yet, you know, we don't understand how integral that role in society is. So, you know, we have to love that part of ourselves. And, you know, bodies change. I don't have kids, but my body is changing as I get older and things like that. So we either need to embrace it, or we need to embrace the fact that we can change things, or we need to embrace what we cannot change, you know, fundamentally our bone structure and things like that. And find the things that we do love about ourselves internally and externally. So what I'm saying is that this takes work. It doesn't, one day you don't just wake up. I didn't just wake up one day and go, you know what? I love myself. This is awesome. I had to work at it. I had to work at, you know, being able to look in the mirror and not automatically go, I don't like this, and this, and look in the mirror and go, I love this, I love this, I love that. Let's not worry about the other stuff for now. And the other part of it is that our conditioning, not only with magazines, not only the torment that we would have suffered at, you know, at the hands of peers at school and things like that, but then also the fact that, particularly in Australia, the insult when I was a kid was, oh, you love yourself. Geez, you love yourself. You know, and what a terrible insult, because what we created was, you know, flocks of kids that thought that it was bad to love yourself. Whereas now what we know as adults is that if you don't speak to yourself kindly and you don't love yourself, then you also prevent the ability for other people to love you and respect you. So that's how it comes from our horses as well. If we fundamentally hate ourselves, that is going to be mirrored in the horse towards us. If we disrespect ourselves, we don't respect ourselves, that is going to be mirrored in the horse towards us. So it's such a huge part of our riding experience and how we relate to the horse. So there are a few exercises that I can share with you, and I'm sure if you hit Google self-esteem building exercises, things like that, you know, so much stuff will come up. What I'm here to say is that it does take time. It is absolutely worth it. It takes ongoing practice, and you are going to feel awkward and stupid when you first do it. When you first look in the mirror and go, I love you, I love your eyes, I love my lips, I've got beautiful teeth, or whatever it is that you choose, you are going to feel it's going to bring up so much stuff. You know, it's going to be like, I don't like doing this, right? But if you can't do it to yourself, you prevent others from being able to do it to you. So please know that this practice is going to fundamentally change the way that you exist and experience not only your horse work, but your work on the planet. So some of the work that I've done includes mirror work. So being able to look in the mirror and nominate 3 things, 5 things, whatever it takes, every day, twice a day, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're putting your makeup on, whatever it is, doing affirmations of things that you love about yourself, doing affirmations about, and I'm going to say it needs to be physical stuff and internal stuff. So, you know, I love my hair color, I love my eyes are sparkly, I love my teeth, I love whatever it is. And then the internal stuff. I love that I am kind. I love that I am passionate. I love that I am considerate. I love that I have compassion. You know, and like I say, do it twice a day. So that's your mirror work. Journaling. You know, journaling is really powerful. You can write letters to yourself. Dear Tanya, you know, that's not your name, it's my name, but, you know, write letters to yourself about how you're feeling. So, you know, I did my mirror work today. It felt really awkward. It made me feel really yucky in my tummy because, you know, and that, you know, I'm being 100% genuine here when I tell you that it still is awkward for me. But when I first started it, I had a physical reaction to it. Like I felt physically like nauseous and my skin was crawling and I was like, oh, I do not like this. And that's terrible. That's a terrible way to feel when you're using kind words about yourself, you know. So journaling how you're feeling, but also finishing with gratitude. So don't only just write nasty letters to yourself. You know, express it in a challenging, you know, I'm facing these challenges. This is how I still feel about myself. But then finish with, you know, I'm grateful that I've taken the time to write this letter and have more information about myself and consideration for myself. And try and find out where that information came from. You know, I remember when I was a teenager, I spent some time with a cousin and overseas, and I was saying to her how gorgeous the boys in Australia were, you know, at the beach, because I grew up at the beach. And I was like, oh, you know, beautiful, and there was a language barrier, so, you know, gorgeous boys on the beach, you know, hot, sexy, whatever. And, you know, she said to me, but you are not this. And that, I know that was fundamentally a massive turning point for me, like a massive nail in the coffin of my descent into self-hatred. I know that was an integral part for me because, you know, like that was just, you know, and I remember saying, oh, I know I'm not gorgeous, you know. So I look back on that now and I've had to do the work to find that information because it's not necessarily front of mind, but those opinions that you have about yourself have often come from other places and other people who aren't necessarily healthy people. They're not necessarily people that have, you know, the best of intentions. And, you know, we all know the saying, hurt people. So, you know, when I look back on kids at school that were nasty and things like that, and now I, you know, if I know what they went through as adults, if you learn information about certain people from high school or people that were nasty to you, you sort of sometimes find out that they didn't have the best childhood. So, you know, kids that are being nasty to you aren't necessarily the holders of the truth. They're just hurt kids that are trying to hurt other people because they hurt. So I think that investigation into where your self-belief comes from is really healthy and powerful in order to overcome it and realize that you can visit those places and go, well, you know, my cousin, you know, she wasn't being nice to me, and that was not a nice thing to say. And knowing that everybody finds different people attractive and hot and sexy, you know, like that's why there's enough people for people to have people because everybody thinks that, you know, are attracted to blondes or tall or short or brunettes or redheads or whatever. Like it doesn't matter what your type is. Everybody's got a type, and so there's no one type, and that, you know, it all comes from that. And the third thing, so mirror work, journaling, writing letters to yourself, expressing how you feel. You know, the third thing is imagine yourself as a child. And so those words that you're using now, like when you look in the mirror, if you want to say, oh God, I'm so ugly or whatever, would you say that to a 5-year-old? Think about yourself as a child, and would you say that to yourself as a child? Would you say that to one of your children? Would you say that to, would you say that to your friend? You shouldn't be talking to yourself in a way that you wouldn't talk to other people. And if you would, you probably need to get professional help, because that's, we don't, like, if you're a nasty person, then you've also got to figure out why you're a nasty person, why you're cruel to people or whatever. But that's just going off on a completely different tangent, but it's probably relevant. There might be some people on here watching that on self-reflection might consider that they're quite nasty. It will make a huge difference in the way that you interact with your horse, with your expectations, the way that you hold space, the way that your horse sees you, the way that you see yourself, the way that you interact with your family. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is simple in that it's simple to say, I'm going to say 3 nice things about myself in the mirror morning and night. That is really simple. It's not easy because it's uncomfortable and it brings up things, but it is very simple and it is powerful. I'm going to leave you with, we know that people have done, there's been a million experiments about when you talk to plants nicely and when you talk to plants unkindly, they thrive. When and that that's a plant without ears. It's about energy. Okay, so whenever you're spruiking negative energy, that energy is around you, and whenever you're spruiking positive energy, that energy is around you. You want to be held with positive energy all the time. So much love to you. I hope that I know that this is probably an episode that might be a little bit raw for some people, and I do apologize to that. I do apologize for that. But like I say, I see it all the time. Please know that you're, worthy and loved and beautiful and kind, and, you deserve to lead a positive life. Thanks so much for watching.